when it comes to PR, my first message to you is to find a PR who understands small businesses, but also understands what the journalists and the people who are writing online, the people who are writing books, etc., what it is that they do and what it is they're looking for. If you don't get that PR person, you've got the wrong person. What you need if you are going to have PR to help you with your small business is somebody who can also understand what it is that you want to communicate and communicate it in the way that you want it communicated. Otherwise, there is a discrepancy between what you're expecting from your PR output and what you actually get from it. So I'll come back to that whole point about you must get the PR that you want and need, as well as just PR. It's no good having profile if it's the wrong profile. You wouldn't go and find yourself an accountant who specialised in large businesses if you're a small business. So don't do that with PR either. Every time you open your mouth, you are selling. If you're talking about your small business to anyone who is a potential customer, you are in sales mode. Now, a lot of women say to me, I hate the selling side. I'm no good at the selling side. You are very good at the communicating side, which is why I say that is a special skill that we can really put to good use. And in order to sell, what you have to do is communicate. Forget the fact that you're selling in your mind and think about the fact that you're communicating what you do to potential customers in order to build a relationship and goodwill with those potential customers, and that does your selling for you. And that's where your good PR comes in. It's got to do the same thing for you. You don't have to do that annoying selling thing where you stand up and say, this is my business, this is what I have got as a product, I can do it better for you than anybody else can, therefore come on, buy from me. You can do it in a much more subtle way, and again, that's what women are very, very good at. And I'm not saying that the gentlemen in this audience aren't good at that, but it comes more naturally, I think, to women, and I call it devious manipulative behaviour. And that's, in a way, girls, come on, we're very good, we have wiles, let's use them. And we can be quite devious and manipulative in that way, as long as we really believe in something. But again, if it's not selling the ethos and values of your company, and if that's not what you're communicating, there's a big disconnect, and you feel terribly, terribly uncomfortable about it. So, play to your communication strengths, but make sure that the PR that you take on board does exactly the same thing. Now, yesterday, I was talking to a gentleman who came to talk to us on the stand, and he said, my business is in ruins. I've been running it for 8 years. I'm not an entrepreneur. And by this time, the tears were almost coming down his face. I can't keep going on like this. The competition's too strong for me. I can't sell anymore. But partly what was wrong when we got to the bottom of it, and it took quite a long time, was that he had moved away from the reason that he set up his business in the first place. He'd forgotten what his company was set up for. He'd forgotten what excited him about setting it up and running it in the first place. He'd forgotten what its ethos was. He'd forgotten what its values were. And what he was actually selling was something that was completely disconnected to how he felt when he originally set up his business. It had moved too far along a certain line. So the point about it is he had been a successful entrepreneur for 8 years. You can't keep a business going for 8 years if you're not successful. Small businesses, only a third of them reach their third birthday. And it's because, quite often, that there's something fundamentally flawed in the whole setup of the business, because the reason you used to get out of bed in the morning is no longer giving you the excitement and getting you out of bed in the morning, and it's usually because you've forgotten what those values, what that ethos was, what those values were. So if you're in a situation where you're really excited about your small business, you've got to find business advisors who buy into that, absolutely and utterly understand what it is that you're about and what your ethos is. You've got to go back to square one.